Alexa, what's the definition of orientation?
Orientation is usually defined as the act or process of orienting, adjusting with relation to, or bringing into due relation to surroundings, circumstances, facts, etc.
Today, thanks to my good friend Danny Mac, we are talking about orientation on the Blind Jedi Vlogs. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Blind Jedi Vlogs. I'm Jason, aka the Blind Jedi, and today, thanks to my good friend Danny Mac, we're talking about orientation. Orientation. Let's break it down to the simplest form first. Orientation to the simplest form, the best way I could describe it would be north, south, east, west, or if you go in order, in the way that I've always remembered it, is never eat shredded wheat. Yeah, it's one of those childhood things. It's kind of how I memorized it. And it actually came in handy, especially early on in my sight loss. So let's start there. So a lot of us have taken O&M training. It's the training we learn for our white mobility canes. O&M stands for orientation and mobility. Again, north, south, east, west, or never eat shredded wheat. To keep your, it's better to use that one. I probably should stop using the traditional north, south, east, west. Although some people get that down too. But ultimately, knowing exactly where you're at and what direction you're heading, whether you use your phone, a compass, or you just know your area really well, it really does help orientate you, so you kind of never get lost. I know a lot of people used to, early on when I moved to Fresno, here in the Central Valley, people used to get really impressed, my cousins or people that would drive me around, they would get really impressed that I would kind of not know where we were at as far as obviously streets or certain locations or where things were at, but I always knew what direction to go to get back on track or to get home. And as we ventured out of the area which we lived in, it was more the same. You know, I was really good at knowing where I was at, north, south, east, west, which way we were heading. Now when the sun falls and it's dark, if I'm in a car and we take too many turns, it's very most likely that I would get disoriented. So that's where you could use a compass, old school compass, or your cell phone can do it, things of that nature. GPS has pretty much killed that whole system. But for us who deal with sight loss, you know, knowing our orientation is very key in us becoming independent. So, you know, I would argue with a lot of people basing on, you know, the fact that GPS is better. Your cell phone dies, then what? So we definitely need to know it. But orientation is one of those things that when it comes to sight loss and getting around and knowing what direction we're headed, you know, if you ever go to a stoplight, it lets you know to wait. It lets you know what direction you're traveling, what button you just hit. You know, so orientation is key, not only for sighted, but for everybody, because we all should know the direction that we're heading when we're walking, but we also should know the direction we're heading in life. And that's what I want to talk about in the next segment, is how we should know our surroundings with orientation on what direction we're headed in life. All right, we're coming up to my favorite light. Let's see how it has me navigate. Let's see if it does what I think it's gonna do too. Let's see if it allows me to hear what direction I'm going. See if it picks it up on the camera. Traveling south. Let's go ahead and finish our conversation about orientation. Now, we were talking a lot about the north, south, east, west, or never eat shredded wheat, I've also heard the terminology of never eat soggy waffles. Pick your poison. In this segment, I basically just want to talk about orientation as it comes to our life. A lot of the times we're told that you need to navigate your life, right? We need to try to navigate through this thing we call life and kind of figure out where we're at in our life and what we want to accomplish, right? We've been talking about setting goals, making certain things happen in our life, and orienting ourselves in this way kind of helps. So let me start off by just explaining what I mean by using the north, south, east, and west concept. So, you know, obviously when it comes to north, we obviously consider that going up, south is going down, and then east and west would be kind of the middle ground there. So when we're breaking down this analogy, when we're talking about looking at where we're at in life and creating a sense of orientation in our life and where we're at, I want to start by saying, you know, sometimes you don't always have to be going north. Sometimes it's okay to kind of sit right there in the middle, centralize yourself, stay focused on where you're at, and use the east and the west side of things to kind of navigate through life, just getting over and around obstacles in your life and just maintaining that flow that you're on. For a lot of us in sight loss, this makes a lot of sense. We get to a place of comfort. We want to kind of stay where we're at. We want to stay stabilized and just navigate life by just avoiding life's obstacles. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what tends to happen to us when we're dealing with loss and depression and all those other things is we tend to start heading south from time to time because we are depressed, or something happens or something is said, and we start to really focus on the negative part of it and not so much on the positive side of things. And this is what I'm developing this channel for, and this channel to be, and that is to kind of help us throughout those processes. I know, and quite personally, I'm kind of going through an element of south lately. I've been, dealing with some things in my personal life that I'm navigating through, and for a while there I was staying central and just kind of avoiding obstacles as they came here and there, but it's really started to take a negative effect in my life. That's one of the reasons why I got inspired to do this particular series, going through the alphabet, picking out positive and negative words and really trying to focus on the positive things. And I can tell you, it's helped me out tremendously. It's given me new focus. It's given me new ways to look and evaluate where I'm at, centralizing myself again, avoiding those obstacles. But now I have my sights set on the north side of things and how I'm going to start moving forward and take another chapter in my life and go for it. Just really set those goals and go for it. So this particular series has helped me orientate where I'm at currently, where I want to be, and where I want to stop going, which is south, and go back to heading north and moving forward. And I hope that these videos can encourage you to do the same. Don't let anybody tell you, you're just stuck going nowhere. You're doing the same thing over and over. You'll have to do your own self-evaluation. We talked yesterday about what the norm is. Well, the norm is you should always be being progressive, right? I don't think so. I think, again, that's society's way of saying that you should always be moving forward. And even though in certain analogies, you should always be moving forward, but I'm also a believer that that could be it all depends on your current life situation. Sometimes you should stay centered, you should stay balanced right where you're at. Just navigate your life the way that it is now. The things that need you to start looking north and moving forward in life will come to you. Set those goals, work at those things. It's not something that happens overnight. I guess the biggest thing that we need to look at as people who suffer from loss and depression and just struggle in life in that way is to make sure that we don't head too far south. If we start to feel ourselves heading south, we need to recenter ourselves as quickly as possible. And how do we do that? By community. I really am a big component of community. Find a community in your area, join a group, join some type of club, join some type of just social group, right? It could be just a group of your closest friends, family members that meet up for a drink, a coffee, some tea, maybe you just guys have lunch, and just kind of focus there first, put some positivity around your life and try to, set those goals to start heading back north. Or maybe you just want to re-centralize. That's okay too. Communities are great, and friends are great, and family are great for these particular things. There's other ways you could do it as well.
Maybe it's you start your own online community. So maybe you do a Facebook page, maybe you do a YouTube channel, maybe an Instagram page, right? There's TikTok out there now. There's a lot of ways that you could take some of these platforms that get some negative publicity and turn it into a positive platform. Your content, your things that you talk about will be positive, progressive, things that will move more towards the north and help people move north. That's just personally what I've decided to do. But again, I come from my perspective, how I live my life. This is me sharing with you my personal story and where I'm at. I've been central for a long time. You know, a lot of the times things start to weigh on me. You know, all of us that deal with loss always find moments in our time where we're going to be heading south. So for me, I started to go down that route. I started to think real negative about myself and my current situation. So I decided, hey, I'm going to recenter myself, which I did. Now I'm navigating east and west. I was doing that for a while, dodging some obstacles. Now I find myself in a place where it's like, okay, now it's time to claim those things back that I once had. So I started setting goals to move north, to progress, to make things happen. And one of those things was creating a vlog every single day for the month of November, which is going to lead me in to the next phase of the Blind Jedi vlogs and moving things outwards and really starting to create the content, try to bring some happiness and awareness in different ways that I live my life to find my happiness and to reach my goals. There's a lot more to it than just the adventure vlogs, but that's kind of the general idea as I sit in front of you today. I like to thank my subscriber Danny Mack, a good friend at that, once again for giving me the word orientation. I thought it was a great way for us to sit down and talk about orientation and mobility, which we talked about earlier on, and then just talk about how we navigate our life and where we orientate ourselves now, right? And how we could use the north, south, east, west system to kind of really gauge at where we're at and where we need to be heading moving forward. Remember, don't always put the pressure on yourself to have to move north constantly. Sometimes it's okay just to sit in the middle and navigate there for a while. It's all right, as long as you can maintain that and you don't start heading down any type of road of depression or things that might hold you back or put too much toxicity and negativity in your life. And if that ends up happening, you know that you have a friend here that will do anything he can to help you through it, whether it's through his content or maybe we can become pen pals through email. So always keep that in mind. If you're new here and you're not yet a subscriber, I encourage you to go ahead right now and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to be updated every time I drop another video. Also, if you're liking this series, if it's helping you out, if you think maybe in the future it would even help you out even more, go ahead and force push that like button. Let's go ahead and spread the word of positivity. Let's be on that quest for positivity, being one with the force, living life, staying centered, and being happy. And until next time, stay one with the force, and the force will be with you always.